DL Gidron's BBV Black Brothers View. This is another episode with brothers who are coming together on a platform, on a panel to share with you from their perspective, their view, from their experiences. Tonight, our focus is, and our panel is made up of brothers who are entrepreneurs. And so we're going to talk about what it is to be a Black entrepreneur in today's climate. But before we do that, I got two things I want to do, and that is I want the brothers to introduce themselves, and then we got a little icebreaker for everybody, and I hope you enjoyed that as well. So, brothers, if you would introduce yourselves, welcome, and glad to have you here. Please introduce yourselves, and you got your order.
My name is Chester Wilson, and I am from Daytona Beach, Florida. I am the executive director for my own training center and consulting firm, which is the CW Consulting Firm. Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you, man. Thank you.
I am Darrell, Shabach Gidron, son of Pastor G, CEO of Digital Service Group, where we specialize in videography, graphic designing, photography, and digital service needs, and in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, my name is Mark Petersen. I'm the owner of Audio and Video Universe. It's an eBay store where I sell audio and video cables and accessories, based out of Raleigh, North Carolina.
Awesome. Man, glad to have you here. And he's also the producer of this show, BBV. I appreciate Mark, so y'all just do not know. That's my frat brother as well. So, brothers, I am a gangster. I love to bring games and activities to atmospheres that help break ice, but help people to have a little fun, and shake some things off. My senior citizens love it, my children's love it, and everybody in between love it too, So this, being that we're dealing with business tonight, what I'm going to do with this game is I am going to give each of you a profession, and I'm going to assign a profession to you. So think about like Wildin' Out. I don't know if y'all seen Wildin' Out now. I'm going to give you a profession, and then I'm going to give you a letter. So I'm going to call your name, give you your profession. I'm going to give you a letter. With that letter, you have to name as many, you know what? I'm not going to do the letter. I want to make it as easy as possible for you. So I'm going to give you a profession. When I give you the profession, tell me as many things you can that profession needs to operate their business. Okay? So I'm not going to give you the letter and box you in. As many things they need to that you can name without saying or without pausing longer than 3 seconds. And that's where the challenge comes in at. Y'all got it?
Yes.
We got it.
Oh, okay. So here we go. So we're going to start with Chester. Chester, your profession. Listen now. You cannot pause no longer than 3 seconds. No. Okay. So your profession, name as many things as you can that a plumber needs to effectively do his job. Go.
Plumber, toilet, flaps, stool, seat, lid, water, cable, snake. I think that's about it.
You named 9. Everybody got 9?
I wasn't keeping count.
Okay, you got 9. All right, Chester. All right, okay. So we're gonna tie it over. It's gonna be the Shabach. Is your go now. Name as many things as you can, Shabach, that a doctor needs for the success of his profession, and go.
Stethoscope, the hammer thing used for your knees.
I think I heard a
Yeah.
You did.
Actually, you started out that way too. Okay. I was trying to be lenient with you.
Let's see. I thought you was about to get specific, like what type of doctor. So caught me off guard a little bit.
So you want to go again with a specific doctor?
No, you good. I think
Okay.
Chester got this one.
Okay.
So wait, so Chester got 9, right?
He has 9.
So he got my favorite number, so I got to beat it. All right, let's do this.
Okay. So Mark, you need to tell me as many things as you can that I guess I may not go there. A truck driver needs to effectively do his job.
Okay.
A truck driver, long distance truck driver. And go.
A gas card, a truck, tires, mileage log, a cell phone, a dispatcher, a hub, a hotel, a credit card, a pillow, a sheet, a mattress in their cab, air conditioning, food, a toilet, water, hand sanitizer.
All right, Mark.
So I mean, he did say in there. It was probably like after 4.
Okay.
Why you didn't stop him? I didn't hear you.
I
Chester.
said so. I was like,
Chester. Chester, did you hear it?
But he was on a roll.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody's a winner for participating. since I'm getting a late report that he did it after 4, and then Chester's like being modest, he was on a roll. He said the toilet paper, the toilet roll, the shit. I appreciate that, y'all. That was fun. That was good. Okay, so listen. We've been dealing in America here, y'all, with the with COVID-19, the pandemic. And on top of that, man, we've gotten the hit of the protests. We've been hit hard here in America and in the world like never before. And I was speaking with Chester earlier, and even in Florida and some other places, Arizona, I know things have gone into spiked up again, you know, and they've been closing down some bars again in Florida areas. So as Black men who have businesses who are constantly trying to get your business to thrive, you're constantly trying, you're at your hustle, man. You're trying to stay on top of it. I'm constantly hearing also in the news of different Black businesses, some who are teaming up to help each other. I believe I heard the other day in Atlanta, Slutty Vegan and the owner, Dave's Steaks or something. Both of them came together, you know, trying to work together and help each other out, and also to help Rayshard Brooks' wife, who just got killed dealing with the protests. And one of the things we're protesting about, actually had an opportunity they came together and purchased a car for her. So when I saw that, I'm like, wow, I see Black businesses still coming together, figuring out new methods that they have to take, you know, but still making things happen, you know. So my first question to you all, with all of that in mind, with what we're dealing with the pandemic, as well as the protesting, Black Lives Matter, and some businesses have been rioted because of it. Dave, one of the guys I just made mention of, his business was also was damaged, but he is still climbing up, you know, and bouncing back. My first question is, what challenges have you encountered? What struggles have you been dealing with as it pertains to your business during this time. But first of all, Chester, before you go, if you would let us know once again what it is that you do, and then if you can share the challenges and the struggles that you've been facing.
Well, as you said, my name is Chester Wilson, and I actually operate and have two businesses. My first business is I have a training and consulting business, CW Consulting Firm, which serves as a training incubator for new and new established and aspiring entrepreneurs. And what we do is we provide training, certification programs, and business consulting for startups and established businesses. Certifications could include becoming a CPR, first aid instructor, case manager, um, mediator, Florida Supreme Court mediator. So there's a variety of certifications that we offer for individuals to increase their brand, increase their value so that they can either start businesses or obtain employment. My second
Okay.
business that I have is I have a and AIDS patients that's located here in Daytona Beach as well. And so when you talk about the struggles of a business, I'll have to be honest with you. Neither one of my businesses have struggled during COVID. In fact, I am one of the business owners that probably has been hiring during this time where I've had to hire for both businesses because of the demand for services. However, as a consultant, what I will tell you is that I feel the plight of Black businesses all too well. And I'll tell you some of the issues that come up with why I feel based on where I sit helping and consulting for business owners, where I feel the struggle is. One of the struggles is that businesses are not set up correctly. They're not fully set up, where some people have their what we call SunBiz here in Florida. They have their SunBiz license. They fail to have a county registration or a city business tax registration. And because they don't have all three of those, when they go to apply for the PPP loan or small business loan or any county loans or city for that matter that have been given out, their businesses are not fully registered, so they're not able to apply for those loans. Thus, it
Wow.
leaves them struggling, trying to figure out how to meet the demands of their business, including payroll or buying supplies. And so, when you look at this dynamic that businesses are not set up correctly, that's part and partial fault on both sides. One is that we have some people who come up with an idea but don't necessarily know what it is to run the entire business. For that reason, they're not fully set up. And then we have the issue with the resources. As we know, Black businesses, most are home-based businesses, and when they do become brick and mortar, they struggle to meet the demands if they don't have something that takes fire right away. And so oftentimes the resources are not there for small Black businesses to give them a helping hand to increase their marketability and their sustainability. And so that brings me to my next point, which is sustainability. Most times when people start businesses, including myself, that I had to think about this as I marketed my business, that we generally only start with one service that we're offering or one great idea. Well, one of the things that I work with and I tell my clients is that you've got to be sustainable. You've got to be able to continuously reinvent yourself in order to stay sustainable and to stay relevant during this time.
Yeah.
When you only focus on one business or one line of service, you're
Right.
not allowing yourself an avenue to be and remain sustainable. And what ends up happening is what could be hot today could be cold tomorrow. What everybody invest in and purchase today could become old news tomorrow. And so it's very imperative that you're able to build on what you do. For instance, when you think about my infectious disease center that I operate, our nucleus is HIV and AIDS. But when you think about HIV and AIDS, that's one service. But in order to stay relevant and sustainable, I had to think about other things that go along with that. I had to think about HIV and AIDS and suicide. I had to think about HIV and AIDS and substance use. HIV and AIDS in mental health, HIV and AIDS in psychiatric services, primary care, pharmacy, prevention and intervention, case management services. As you see, the list goes on, because
Right.
all of these are co-occurring issues that happens when a person encounters HIV and AIDS. And so that allows me not only to provide this valuable service to our community, but to remain sustainable and relevant so that I don't shut the doors because of that one line of service. The same is true for my consulting business. I started out originally offering CPR and first aid services and helping people build their businesses. Well, today I've developed so many training certification programs, as you heard me say, with case
Right.
management and mediation and CPR and first aid, risk management. I continually add to my training certifications in order to stay relevant and sustainable. And so when you talk about the plight of Black businesses, we need people to sit down with our entrepreneurs, not only to help them to set up their businesses correctly so that when things like COVID-19 happens, that we can apply for the resources, because we already know that we're marginalized. Not focusing on the things that we already know, the systemic racism and all of the other things that go along with it. What we have to do is make sure that we are legitimately set up so that we can at least apply for those businesses right now, or those loans. Right now, we can't even apply for them because there's barriers to our businesses being fully set up. And so my plight to it is that businesses are suffering because one is that we're not set up, and so we don't have access to the resources. Number two, it's just already hard for small Black businesses to come up. We either don't have the money or we don't have the brick and mortar to provide the services that we need to. So when you look at all of this, all in all, I'm blessed that I wasn't affected personally through my entrepreneurship, but I know so many other people that are, because number one is they operate off of a face-to-face service, and going virtual just was not an option. For me, I was able to put my trainings right online if I needed to, and my speaking engagements continued. So that didn't stop. But for a lot of people, not having that plan of what will you do when you can't provide services the traditional way that you provide them, that proved to be a barrier. With my infectious disease clinic, we provide life-saving services. So there, those services were still valuable and needed. So my thoughts or my pearls to words of wisdom to entrepreneurs would be is to make sure that your businesses are legitimately set up so that it doesn't add another barrier to an already systemic issue that we have with owning and operating our businesses. And then number two is make sure that you come up with a plan to stay relevant and sustainable during these troubling times such as COVID-19.
Wow. Wow. That's good, man. That's a lot of good stuff right there. You know, the setup and then the sustainability. Two things that I guess any business definitely, you know, a challenge with, you know, but then, like you said, the Black community, the Black business, even the more so, not having access to some of the same, you know, same resources. So how long have you been in business, in both your business? How long have you had them established?
I started my training and consulting firm in 2012, and it has
12.
gone through several reconstruction periods, if you will,
Okay.
to get to where we are today in 2020. And
That's good.
for the infectious disease clinic, I took over that clinic in 2018, and we've been building and building, and it's taken about 2 years to really get it off the ground into a viable business that we have today.
And see, that's the thing. Just like you said, it took about 2 years. You said 18 took about 2 years to get it to the level that's at now. And I've seen some businesses even in my neighborhood, not necessarily Black owned, but they just opened like 3 weeks. You know, I was praying, man, for my community. We're going through gentrification, and so I love seeing the restaurants and everything that's coming up. And soon as a couple of the restaurants opened up, 3 weeks into it, COVID hit. It was time to shut, you know, it was time for the quarantine and everything, shut restaurants down. And you go through the challenge of setting up, and before you can even position yourself to sustain, you get swapped with something like that, But that's a blessing, man, that you haven't had to deal with the challenges. But once again, it's because you've been prepared.
And I'll tell you something, when you talk about being hit, you have to expect the unexpected, which means that you have to develop a good business plan. Developing a good business plan will allow you to think about all of the caveats. And that's where that SWOT analysis come in when you talk about your strengths, your opportunities, your weaknesses, and your threats. It will help you to expand, to think about all of the things that could happen while you're opening this business. Because rest assured, you come up with an idea, there is going to be a lot of barriers that you're going to encounter that's going to throw you off from your original plan. And so with you having a business plan, it will help you to at least think about some of those things, where when it hits you, it won't be such a shock to you in terms of you doing it.
It was expected.
And then understand that when you start a business, it's 2020, and it's really just getting to a sustainable position where I am hiring help, and contracts are coming in. And it took all of that even to develop the business to what it is now, because in 2012, when I started, I didn't start with all of these ideas. They developed over years based on the need and based on the trends of what I've seen. With the infectious disease clinic, it just by happenstance that the service that I provide, that the state needs a service provider in that area, and they're willing to put the funding behind it. So don't take it for granted, for all those listeners out there, that you're going to come up with an idea and tomorrow it's going to hit and everybody's going to buy into it. It is going to take some blood, sweat, and tears. You are going to toil in order to birth that business. However, you have to be committed not only to the idea, but the work that you have to put in behind that business in order to bring it to fruition.
That's good. And I love the way you share that, because, and just the honesty of that. A lot of times people hear they hear from dream to reality, and they don't hear the process or the struggle, the challenges. And so for some people, they go into it like people do in relationships with not a full understanding about what to expect.
Notions.
Right. So therefore, the very utopia thoughts, about what they are wanting it to be, and not necessarily what may actually take place. But one of the things you said, and as you was just talking, my mind was going in so many different places. Being able to being able to look at your business. You said you went under reconstruction several times as you saw the need arise, right? So you constantly evolving, and you're still not finished. And one of the things with the pandemic, I think, and as well as a lot of stuff that's been going on with the protesting and stuff, but with the pandemic, a lot of things that has taken place is it has caused people to rethink their approach, or and you're still not finished. And one of the things with the pandemic, I think, and as well as a lot of stuff that's been going on with the protesting and stuff, but can you hear me? There's a delay that has taken place.
Yes.
It has caused people to.
There's an echo.
Yeah, there's an echo. So Mark, I think that's probably, into the audience, the echo we're hearing, that may be the 20-second delay that we're hearing feedback on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's important, because I've seen it with everything that I do, the different hats that I wear, whatever, that, you find yourself getting back to that spot, getting back on your knees, and, saying, okay, Lord, guide me, show me now, what direction now, because you don't have quit in you at all. So what you have in you is what's next. What's now, I got to come up with another way. I'm needing you to show me another way. This is how I'm praying, and then there are times when you intend one thing, but while you're engaging in that one ideal, something just happens that causes you to reform, redirect that ideal, and you say, hey, this works. We're going to do this now, all of that is a part of evolving. You have to be willing to make those kind of adjustments and not just say, hey, this is, because I used to have a problem saying, hey, this is black and white, this is A, B, and C, got to stick to this, and it doesn't work like that all the time. And you got to make those shifts. So I appreciate you making mention about having to readjust and go. We're going to come back to you, man. But I'm going to be talking to you some more later. I think you're going to be able to help a brother out. I'm going to have to take you on and find out what your rates are. So my son, Shabach, I've been able to see some of the challenges or some of the things you've had to encounter and that you've talked about. Could you please let us know where you are? I mean, what exactly you do, and what are some of the struggles and challenges, if there are any, that you have encountered, and how you've conquered them and how you're working through them? Shabbat.
Yes, sir. Also give a time updates 9:40. So what I do, again, CEO of Digital Service Group. So I provide photography, videography, graphic designing, music production, and DJ services. So a lot of that is based on events. And so a lot of the events over the summer, places that I work with, or just events that I normally do throughout the summer, has been canceled or been shifted to online. So a lot of our contracts and gigs have been pushed back, or just once it's resumed in person. So it's led us to, having to adjust to figure out what can we do to still keep the business name going. Thankfully, have other streams of income, but to keep the business name going. So I've had to shift the marketing from videography to photography and DJing on location to doing graphics, to editing, doing things that I can do in the studio. So then, still able to keep that name for myself. Now on the flip side, with events that are going on, because there are still some going on, it's a matter of health risk. So anytime, you step outside the house, you're putting yourself at risk. So with my business, with videography and photography, there are times where I'm able to do it by myself, depending on what the event is. But then there's other times where I have to get contractors, people that help me if it's a wedding or a big event. So I need 4 or 5 camera, situation, or just need extra hands. And so not only am I putting myself at risk, I'm putting others at risk. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out how to go from not having to wear masks, not having to wear gloves, to making that change. So I just had a shoot, I believe it was 2 weeks ago maybe, and gloves, masks, going, everything. And so, it was good and everything, but nobody had on gloves, nobody had on masks at the event. It was an engagement party. So, it was a thing of still trying to make sure you keep that social distance. So I think one of the biggest challenges has just been the matter of lack of opportunities, and what we already had in place, just having to be readjusted, pushed aside for right now. So it's just a matter of, I always go back to serenity prayer. God, let me accept the change I cannot change, and the courage to change the things that I can. So readjusting has been a big thing in my game book.
So having to factor in all of those different things, have that been kind of frustrating to you, or have you found yourself just adapting to it?
Of course, frustrating. Before Corona, it was frustrating if a client canceled at the last minute. But with this, it's very frustrating because, especially for the summer, you're looking forward to getting them back-to-back gigs. I'm in school, so I have to adjust my gigs and contracts based around my school opportunities. So, during the summer, you're expecting have pretty much gig almost every other day. So having that dwindled down to less than what I was having before Corona has been a little discouraging, but it's also allowed for network opportunities, adjusting and hitting people up online saying, hey, if you need services, in the future, or figuring out what they need that I can do in the studio, graphic designing. So taking that frustration and adding it to, can't think of a word, you the preacher man, but taking that frustration, adding it to a good goal, good like that.
So you just said that, but then you helped me out earlier. Took long and made it short, Kurt. So it sounds as if you have found yourself having to pull more out of yourself, go the extra mile than you already had to go just to make sure to keep things going or to make sure to keep clients coming, and you seem to be doing pretty well with that. I've seen the same thing as far as you go into a place and hear you trying to be, cautious. You got your gloves, your mask, hand sanitizer, and everything, and then you go into an environment and they're just carefree about it. Now I know Chester was making mention that I guess pretty much what he does online or whatever. So if I'm not mistaken, Chester, you're not having to have the interactions. When you find yourself and that, because that's challenging, that's frustrating. If you are nervous, right, about it, and here you're trying to still conduct business, how do you talk to people? How do you deal with that situation when they are not covering themselves, but here you're still trying to do business, but you're trying to be careful at the same time? How do you handle that? Because a lot of people are dealing with that right now.
Oh, was that to me or Chester?
To you.
It's difficult, but at the same time, so it's one of those things that is.
I mean, do you say something to them, or do you just you hold it in? Well, how do you handle it?
You want to give good customer service.
Right.
So it's at the same time customer service over, I guess, the risk of yourself.
What?
I don't know. It's difficult to say. It's because it's one of those things with what we're dealing with. This is social distance type of issue, and so my career is based on interaction and kind of being close and making the my client comfortable, and so it's difficult to social distance. But that's why you have the masks and the gloves. There's been several times where I found myself having to go ahead and take off the mask for a second to talk, to say something. But I believe it's just going the extra mile. In customer service, you already have to do the extra to making them feel comfortable, to making them want to have you back. Because you can provide good service, but the customer service aspect of it is not good. They can easily find someone else. So going the extra mile, talking louder, try to smile through the mask. They can't see it, but smiles with your eyes. All them different steps to make them feel more comfortable.
So before going to Mark, you made me think about two things. One, this morning, I was a part of the Atlanta Benedict Club. We had a 5K walk, and I saw that. I saw a lot of people. We had a mask on right here, in the ears and right here. And then I'm like, I don't know these people, And so Jaron already know how I was going to be. And so I'm like, I don't know them. I don't know their situation, their status, anything like that. They look okay and healthy and friendly. Nobody's coughing or sneezing. But I don't know. I see a couple people had their masks here too. As I'm getting closer, I put my mask on. And then I start seeing when I did that, one of the other ladies who was organizing things, she had her mask up on here and she put her mask on as well. So it's in some incidents, I think we'll find that others will do as they see. They may respond to how we are, how we're interacting. They may take on that. One of the ladies there, she said that at her job, every day they come to work, they give them a mask. I thought you was gonna say that you probably give masks to some people, whatever. But every day they come to work, they give masks and to them. And so she said she just keeps collecting masks, but that's their way from a business standpoint to still conduct business and trying to be safe. And I guess hope they're not offending anybody, hoping, like Chester was saying earlier, people gonna do what they want to do anyway, hoping that they're wearing it. But on a job, I guess you feel like, hey, I gotta wear it. Mark.
Yes, sir.
What does your business comprise of? Exactly what do you do?
Well, I'm a retail. I have an e-tail business on eBay. I have my own eBay store where I sell audio and video cables, HDMI cables, USB-C, speaker wire, etc. So that's pretty much what I do.
Okay, so have you found? So you're online. So have you found a boost in your business, or have you found a hit? What are some challenges or some successes?
Successes. With everyone being quarantined, staying home, I have seen a tremendous spike in business. It's not recession-proof, of course, but it's been very busy. I've been sending out orders.
Can I send you my cash out?
Say that again?
Can I send you my cash out? and Chester, I'll be sending it to you too.
But I mean, this, the coronavirus has unfortunately, unfortunately been a boom to my business. You've had people staying home that now have time to do that home network wiring project they didn't have time to do before. Now they have time to do it. Where they wanted to redo their home stereo system, didn't have time. Now they have the time to do it. So that's why my business has had the increase, is because people are home and have time to do these things.
Okay, so let me understand. So if I have a device and I don't have the cable,
you can get it.
You're the guy to touch base with.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Depending on what it is, I can get it, but I can get it. I can get it for you.
Even a dinosaur.
Oh yes, I still sell some dinosaurs. I still sell RCA cables. They came on VCR. I still have those. Still sell those. Sold 2 yesterday, to be honest with you, man. So, and those are the kind of things that keep me in business. Things that Walmart won't sell, or they have them, or people don't know they exist in Walmart because it's outdated electronics, like RCA cables, Cat 5 cables. Yes, Cat 5 is still common, but everything's going Cat 6 and Cat 8. So most newer homes that are being built now are being built with the Cat 6 in it, not Cat 5. I still sell some Cat 3 cables. I found my niche. When I started this business 12 years ago, I started only selling HDMI cables, only, because that was the newest thing out. I sold those strong for about a month. Then business plateaued or just flatlined. So then I expanded it to selling RCA cables because people were still using those. So I started selling those. Business picked back up. I had to keep recreating what I was selling on a weekly and monthly basis to be surviving for 12 years, because we know technology changes constantly.
Right.
And when I first started, it was the Xbox 360 was the hot thing. I was selling accessories for that. And play the Nintendo Wii, I was selling little Wii covers.
Right.
Selling them left and right. Now it's Wii something else. PlayStation 4 is out now. It was PlayStation 3 back then. So I have to constantly keep evolving. Cell phone cables, I sell those as well. So now everything is either USB or Lightning. Before it was for the Apple, I think it was 8-pin or 9-pin, regular USB, USB-A, USB-B. So all those different things, I have to keep getting new merchandise to sell to keep alive.
Right.
So it's been very good to me right now.
The thing that all three of y'all have shared is that you have tenaciously stepped into reconstruction. You've been revival, has taken place. Whatever you've had to do to revise yourself and to just to reconstruct things. And that's the thing about it, is everything that's what's going on in America now. We having to reconstruct everything. The school system, the doctors now coming through, telemedical. So much is being reconstructed. And so why would we not think that if it's being done on a major level, that we don't have to do it, with our businesses? But you all seem to be propelling and yet prospering in spite of the pandemic and the protesting and everything that's been going on. We really hadn't talked about the protesting part too much, but you seem to still be prospering in spite of all of that. It reminds me of the word of God that says, in your weakness, my strength is made perfect, So it's like, while this seems to be a time of weakness for my business, God is stepping in with some grace, showing me how to reconstruct this thing. And also, what was meant for evil, in Genesis, God turned around and used it for my good, my business spiking. Even with you, Shabach, trying to, saying, hey, approaching people from a different perspective. Hey, do I need to, you need this? Or trying to think about what else I can offer, someone. And a lot of times, do y'all know how many people have now started going into the mask business, making masks?
Oh, I thought about it. I thought about it, but I was like, I have my hands full with this. And I was like, man, I just hope I don't make a mask and someone gets sick and try to come after me. So I said, let me just stay away from that.
You gotta put a waiver on that thing. If you get sick, not sue me.
Yeah, that's what I think that's what Donald Trump did. The president did say, put a waiver if you come here. Well, first of all, COVID does not exist no more. We're better. The numbers are down. But if you come, please sign this waiver. That's a thing that you hadn't thought about, is that you're actually getting this mask from someone who's making it, right? You don't know their status. They may not know. But I was talking to one of the young, like I said, we was networking today. One of the young ladies there, she at the field, she just started making masks. And she was talking about the different kinds, and just she said she's just rolling with it now. She said, I'm rolling with this wave, and that becomes there are things that we have to do, going back to whether it's reconstructing or things that we have to do, sensible things to be sustainable in our business. And I like what you were saying as far as how you realize every need of a person who is infected with HIV/AIDS. Let me think of everything that pharmacy, and just so many different things that that they are concerned with. And if you can be proactive and think about those things for them, and that's what a salesperson is anyway. I'm trying to let you know why you need my services, and what I can do to help you. I'm gonna say this before we wrap it up. Morehouse, did y'all hear that? Y'all heard that Morehouse canceled everything sporting the rest of the year?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of big talk about that, by them doing it, first of all, and then being the first. One of the struggles that some people have been dealing with, because I was telling somebody this, when they said Morehouse did that, I said, listen, man, you got to realize that to still exist, well, first of all, to exist normally, like Chester was saying, is already tedious. Now I have to put extra thought and extra funding into making sure that I create an environment that's going to be safe. So that takes extra time. It takes extra funds, and so some people rather avoid that, than to step into that arena. I don't know whether there's anybody else going to follow them or not. I've seen some businesses that have been told they can open back up, but because they were out of commission for like 3 months, they're like, I can't just open back up like that, So I speak God's blessings over all of your businesses. I speak 3 John 1 verse 2 upon your businesses, and that is that your business will prosper, that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prosper. So that means that's total victory over everything that's connected to you. Before we exit, before we conclude this broadcast, is there any advice, any thought of inspiration that you want to share with that person, who they are dealing with some kind of challenges, and you all are the guys to be able to do it because you're still prospering, in spite of it. And it's not that it's not a little challenging at some points in time, Shabach, but it's like you're still doing good. What last word of inspiration or advice do you want to put in the atmosphere for them? And if you don't mind, I would like to go back and Mark, you first, Shabach, and then end it with Chester.
The one thing that I can say to anyone who has a business that's going through some stuff right now, remember, it's not going to be dark all the time. It's going to be light sooner or later. Don't give up. Recreate yourself. If you were in business where your business was primarily people came to you, see what you can do to go to them. Get an online presence if possible. Network with other businesses that are in the same situation. Maybe you combine to recreate yourselves and both benefit from it. Just don't give up. Never give up, because once you give up, you can never go back. You just have to stay in it.
I like that. Shabach, I like that. Stay in it. Don't give up. Don't quit. The recreate. I keep hearing it again. Shabach.
Just reiterate what I said earlier. Serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. So there's a number of things that we can't change in these times, but give me the courage to change the things that I can. So other than focusing on what we can't do, what can you do? What changes can you make? Use a t-shirt business. All right, let's readjust to making masks. There's 100 different things that we're able to do. And so I know for me as a starting business and for businesses who've been 100 years in the making, everybody's having to readjust, but it's having to have that good attitude, not feeling like it's a burden, not feeling like it's a weight, but all right, new times, new things, because right now it's Corona, but 10 years from now, it's going to be technology. It's going to be changing 10, 20 years. So what can you change?
I'm glad you said that, because I remember back in the day, they said, y'all better learn computers. If you don't learn computers, you're going to be lost. You ain't going to be able to do nothing. People say, oh, I ain't learning no computer. I'm too old. It's too much. And now, if you don't know how to put your business out there, but computer, if people are stuck in the house and they can't get to you, now what? Thank God for Uber Eats and grocery, Amazon, and Jesus, I thank God that grocery can be delivered to my doorstep, y'all. I'm telling you, and people have started telling people, I'll bring it. It's a blessing. So, Mark, you said recreation. Shabach said readjust. Listen, we have been blessed and fortunate to have you today, Chester. and you know, your experiences and everything, man. We're gonna definitely remain in contact. What, other than what you've already shared, would you like to leave of advice or inspiration to those other business individuals, owners out there, who may be dealing with some challenges? And yeah, what would you want to share with them? What would you want to leave with them?
I would share for those that are dealing with challenges is to embrace the challenge and figure out a solution. One of the things that we must come to realize is, me having a history in behavioral health, is that stress is common. Some people would like to act as though stress is something new. But for those of us who've been living just a little while, I always tell people I've been Black just a little while.
Just a little while?
Just a little while. Stress is common. Stress is common. And in some cases, a lot of us are used to the stressors that come as a result of what it is that we do in life. And I'm a witness, just being Black is stressful sometimes because of the things that we go through.
Jesus.
So this stress is common. It's not new to us. And the same thing that I would shed light on with struggles. Some people say struggles are new. The struggles are not new to us. Some of us have been raised with struggles. We've gone to the refrigerator before to know that there was no food in there, and some kind of way mother makes a meal out of nothing. We've been without a job. We've been without gas in the car. These struggles aren't new to us. Struggles are new to us. At some point, we should start preparing ourselves to face the struggles that we know that we're going to have. The next thing that I would say to this is enlarge your network. A lot of times we think about just me, myself, and I. Even we think about this in terms of going into business, that individuals sometimes say, I'm going into business by myself. Sometimes you need a partner. Sometimes those people who have an idea does not mean that they will be good business administrators or good business managers. So sometimes you need somebody to bring your idea to life because you're not the person to run it. I sometimes say this with doctors, and this is not true with all doctors. Sometimes doctors are good at practicing medicine, but it does not mean that they're good at running the clinic. And so therefore they have to hire office managers to run their clinic. So that way they can focus on medicine. The same is true with us with business owners. It does not mean that we are good business owners and good business managers because we come up with the idea. We have to be smart enough to understand when we need to hire help. And if you enlarge your network, then you won't have to go out and look for those folks, because those folks will be right there in your immediate circle. Then I'm coming down 2 more points. One is use what's in your hands. If you use what's in your hands, your God-given talent, all of us have talents. If we figure out what our talents is and use what's in our hands, then you won't be running around in a circle trying to make it work, because you would have the solution in your hands. And the last thing that I would leave with, that the great Joe Clark said, is be so good at what you do until people cannot ignore you. And if you're good at what you do, you won't have to run behind services. The people who need the services will run behind you.
Yes, sir. Where is the offering pan? Bring the offering pan. I got the Bible right here. We just need the offering pan. Listen. That's some rich stuff. That is some rich stuff. This has been good for me. My whole day has been about networking and empowerment and entrepreneurship. From this morning, when I rolled myself up out of that bed, because I knew, I needed more sleep, but I know night hour, went to bed late, but I knew what time around I was going to be here. And I had to keep my mind thinking on what I was going to. You know, I had to look past what I had to do to get there. And my inspiration was, but when I get there, what I'm going to connect with, who I'm going to network with, who I'm going to connect to, right? And so I left there today with more contact. People who was asking me for my contact, right? You know, and I'm wanting theirs as well. And people who, going back to what you said with the doctor, your skills, but also your personality, you know, all of that stuff, you know, being able to, you know, have all of that. We're here today, Zoom, with Black Brothers View, because of my ideal and Mark's skills. Come on, somebody. Jesus. Okay. I want to leave happy. I want to leave off this happy, whatever it is. So listen, there are three things that each one of you said a word, read something. I've been paying attention. Before we leave off, can either one of you say the word that each one of you said that started with a re?
Reinvent.
Reevaluate.
Nobody said no reinvent.
Reevaluate.
Really? They're coming up with new words. Okay. So Mark said recreate.
Recreate, reinvent. Okay.
Shabach said readjust.
That's it.
Yeah, I know. Shabach said readjust. And Chester just said repair.
Mm.
You know, so I just say understand with your business, like the potter wants to put you back together again. You know, don't throw away the pieces. Just take it back, put it back together again. You all continue to be blessed and prosperous. I appreciate you so much. This has been good for me. I hope y'all enjoyed yourself as well. Just know one thing, you share something that's going to be here for always. That's going to be able to bless somebody, that somebody be able to tap into. So how can people follow you? How can people touch base with your business? And then we're out.
So my
You can
business.
follow me.
All right. Well, Chester, go ahead. Chester.
Okay. You can follow me on Facebook at Chester Wilson, or my business, CW Consulting Firm. And my website is the same, cwconsultingfirm.com.
Okay, you will continue to consult me from this day forward. Thank you, sir. Yes. Okay, Shabach.
So right now I am on Instagram. Business page is at Digital Service Group. And my personal page is DJ Shabach.
And Mark?
Okay, you can find me on eBay. The name of my store is Audio and Video Universe. That's audio and spelled out Video Universe. The direct link is ebay.com/str/audio and video universe.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Have a good one. God bless you real big. And like I said earlier, I speak 3 John 1 and 2 on your life.
All right. God bless everybody. Good night.
Good night.